Hi there, friends of the vinyl community. It's Mark here again. Last night I was tagged in the response video that's been going on from Sublimmedia, the long association thread. And the person I was tagged by was GuessImJustASpudBoy. And he showed up 3 albums that were kind of cool. The last one being this album right here, the Beatles' Revolver. He mentioned that he had a UK press. Mine's pressed in Germany, and I think it has the same track listing you have. It includes 3 songs that don't appear on the Canadian-US original versions, being I'm Only Sleeping, And Your Bird Can Sing, and Dr. Robert. And I wasn't aware of that until he mentioned that on his video, that this version was different. I've never owned any other version except for this album here, so that was kind of cool information. So I have to come up with an album that I can associate with this album in some way. So first off, everyone knows that this is probably one of the most highest acclaimed record albums in history, the Revolver album. So the one I'm going to show you actually is kind of the opposite. It was an album that got poor reviews, and it's actually the soundtrack to a movie which got even poorer reviews. In fact, it was meant to be the next big thing at the theater, and it really flopped. I think they did break even on the expenses of making the movie, but that's about it. It was really expected to do wonders, and the album I'm talking about is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Didn't pay a lot for this album. There's no way I would. I think I picked it up at a bargain bin or something for a couple of bucks. And aside from the obvious association, which is Beatles, is actually a song. The song on Revolver, Got to Get You in My Life, also appears on this as performed by Earth, Wind & Fire. And it's probably one of the few high points on the album, as they do quite a very smooth and silky version of it with really nice horns, and it's kind of a slowed down version compared to the Beatles. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not a big Earth, Wind & Fire fan, mind you, but I thought the version of that song was very good. The highlight on this will always be, though, Aerosmith, who just hit the nail on the head with the Beatles' Come Together, which is a phenomenal song. So, that's my association with Revolver. The album I'm going to pick to associate with this has to do with the production of this album. It's a Robert Stigwood production. Robert Stigwood was famous for the production of other movies as well, including Grease and Saturday Night Fever. So he made his money in the 70s as a big movie producer, mainly dealing with musicals, that sort of thing. And he was also the founder of RSO Records. RSO stands for Robert Stigwood Organization. So my next album that I'm going to show has the same, is an RSO label. So that's the connection with this album, the Sgt. Pepper album. And just to show you the RSO label, I'm sure you've all seen it many times before, with the red cow. RSO, you know, I don't own many RSO records because mainly RSO dealt with Bee Gees, Yvonne Elliman, Andy Gibb, that sort of thing. But they did manage to land Eric Clapton. And this is one of my favorite Clapton albums, and the Slow Hand album, which has a number of hits on there, including, of course, Cocaine, Lay Down Sally, and the slow dance number Wonderful Tonight. But aside from those 3 songs, the other songs too are just as good. It's a great album all the way through, and that was my pick for my association with Sgt. Pepper. So for my final album, I'm going to associate the song on here, Cocaine. with my final album, which, oh, I should point out too, before I forget, this album did reach #2 on the Billboard 100, and the one record standing in its way at the time this reached #2 that prevented it from reaching #1 was also a Robert Stigwood production. It was Saturday Night Fever, also on the RSO label, so it's kind of a bit of a nostalgia there. Like, who would think that Saturday Night Live could possibly beat out this album, but apparently it did. But as far as longevity goes, I think a Slow Hand's still a lot more popular today than Saturday Night Fever is. So the last album I'm going to show, like I said, the song Cocaine on Slow Hand. On this album, Jackson Browne, Running on Empty. There's also a song called Cocaine on here, but it's not the same song, just the same title. I picked this album, one of the reasons why I picked this album for the association is it was one of my favorite albums in the 70s, and when I kind of got rid of most of my record collection over the 80s and 90s and started to rebuild 4 years ago, this is one of the albums that I was looking for first. I wanted to get this back in my collection, mainly because I really enjoyed it. It was it's a very laid back, I guess is the best word to describe it. Not huge into Southern rock, but if you're going to get a Southern rock album, I would highly recommend this one. Running on Empty, of course, was the big hit from the album, but all the songs on here, every single, I can't see one song on here that I don't enjoy listening to. And what makes this album a little bit different is that it is considered a live album, in that none of these tracks were actually recorded in the studio. They were all recorded either in venues like stadium or concert hall, that sort of thing. But some songs were recorded on the bus, some were recorded in the hotel rooms. It was all done on the road, basically, the whole album. So it's technically considered a live album. And what's kind of different about it is that none of these songs that are on this live album appear in any prior studio albums to this one here. So I found that could be kind of interesting as well. So there you have it. There's my association, a long association thread response. So to carry on the thread, I have to pick another vinyl community member. I have a few people in mind, but I'm thinking who would be more likely to have the Running on Empty album. So I'm going to go with Eolavox, Rob. Good luck with continuing the thread on. I'm looking forward to seeing your 3 selections. Take care for now.